Tonight from Spokane, Washington, a great matchup in the West Coast Conference. BYU on the road to take on the top-ranked team in all of college basketball, the Gonzaga Bulldogs. A program that is rich with so much history. So many great players have come through Spokane and through this Gonzaga campus. And yet this may be the greatest Gonzaga team that we have ever seen. We've seen a lot of good ones. Hi, everybody. Dave Fleming and Sean Farnham. Thrilled to be here tonight inside the kennel, even though we're missing the students. And we are a little farther apart than we usually are. Anyway, still great to be here for what should be a terrific matchup, Sean. We got one more game left on the college football season side. And I know you've noticed some comparisons between the number one ranked team in that sport and these number one ranked Zags.
Yeah, you talk about offense and the ability to just dictate the flow of the game. Gonzaga has become the Alabama of college basketball, in particular this year. Najee Harris doesn't get a lot of, the fanfare for players from Alabama, even though he just won the Doak Walker Award. But he's the ground and pound, the hustle, the heart of the Crimson Tide. And Drew Timme brings that same kind of toughness on a team that doesn't have a lot of length down underneath. Timme is the guy that can control the paint for the Gonzaga Bulldogs. And then you talk about explosive offensive weapon. How about the Heisman Trophy winner, Devontae Smith? Every time he touches the ball, he scores. There's been questions on height and speed. Well, there's been questions about Corey Kispert. Can he score off the bounce? Can he do this or that to be at the next level? He's answered all those questions. He's one of the best players we have in college basketball. And then Mac Jones. He is the Davey O'Brien Award winner, facilitates that offense. He's the best quarterback. Here's the best point guard. Jalen Suggs is the court general you can dream of if you're Mark Few.
Yeah, and I think the comparison is apt. There's no question to me that Alabama is the most explosive offense. How do you stop Alabama's offense? How do you stop Gonzaga's offense on the hardwood? Because the Bulldogs scoring 95 points per game so far this year, outscoring their opponents by a huge margin. It just is a team loaded with weapons, and the challenge for BYU, the last team to actually beat Gonzaga. You and I were there in Provo last February. Can they hang with this offensive superpower Gonzaga? BYU will have the first possession of the night.
And Dave, the first thing you and I talked about, if you're going to beat Gonzaga, your offense has to be clicking. And you're going to have to hit a lot of shots from the outside. And certainly when we were in Provo last year in what was the best environment I think I've seen in college basketball that I've been part of in the last 20 years, the Rock was unbelievable. You can't turn the ball over.
Yeah, you turn it over, this happens. Jalen Suggs end-to-end with a foul to start the game for the Zags.
You've got to protect the basketball. Mark Pope said it. We've got to swing it multiple sides. We have to force the Gonzaga defense to shift. But the one thing that we can ill afford to do is turn it over and allow players like Jalen Suggs to jump the passing lane. And you see his strength and ability to finish through contact. A great start for the very talented freshman.
He's had some injury issues here in his first year, probably his only year in Spokane. But the spectacular performances have been truly spectacular. Coming off kind of an underwhelming game in the first conference game for the Zags against USF. Some pressure for Gonzaga, and Barcelo breaks it rather easily to find Colby Lee on the baseline. He had a good look, missed that shot. Kispert goes quickly to the basket.
They attack the paint as well as any team in the country, and it's not just by post-ups. It's moving without the ball. It's attacking off the wing.
Yeah, highlighted three of those Gonzaga starters, Sean, in your open, and one of the players that we didn't even get to is the reigning conference player of the week, Joel Ayayi, who's been playing at such a high level. There's another BYU turnover. So now Timme goes to work against the grad transfer from Purdue, Matt Harms. Good defense by Harms.
Yeah, Harms' length can be very disruptive. That's one of the matchups that I'm looking forward to watching tonight because of Harms and his size.
Trying to go over the top, and there was Kispert from behind to poke it away.
But Dave, they're forcing it first side. They're not even getting a ball reversal. The defense is loaded, and what that means is they're in position to be disruptive.
Suggs for three, and a tap back rebound out to Ayayi. Kispert will pull the trigger. Yes.
He's playing right now like a creative player. Back in the day, like NBA 2K, you create your own player and you set it to rookie level and you max out everything. That's essentially what Corey Kispert has done so far this college basketball season.
Well, I know Luka Garza is playing so well, and he sort of came in as the heavy favorite to be the player of the year nationally. Corey Kispert has an argument. I mean, it is hard for somebody to be playing better than Kispert is. Barcelo gets that one to go down, and there, finally, the first 2 points for BYU.
And as much as we talk about Kispert, Barcelo's numbers are insane. He is shooting 63% from beyond the arc, and you've seen him be able to attack and get a piece of the paint. He understands how to settle this team down. He's the leader for BYU. They are going to need a huge game out of him tonight.
Timmy thought about the three. Drew Timmy, the big man, who's got that power game that you talked about, but also has a lot of finesse.
He does. Undersized, unbalanced, able to stop, turn, and pop.
Arms has been shooting some threes. The big man hadn't been making a lot of them. Caught it and traveled. Well, not the start that the BYU head coach, second year for Mark Pope, doing a terrific job. Not the start that he dreamed of.
No, but let's talk about Mark Pope for a second. This team hasn't played since December 23rd. They got the call 2 days ago. They're playing the #1 team in the country that has this good of an offense. And Mark Pope didn't bat an eye. He said, yeah, I want to go play. We'll come to your place. There was no hesitation. Great leadership from Mark Pope in accepting the challenge.
Timmy, what a spin move and finish with the left hand. He and his team accepted the challenge. It is a supreme challenge. Arms runner, and they're going to call an offensive foul.
Now this start couldn't be any worse for BYU. And a lot of that has to do with Mark Few, who has done a tremendous job leading this program, the highest active winning percentage of any coach in the country. But how about, as much as we talk about the offense, Dave, how good has the defense been at the start of this game? Charges, rebounding, not allowing second chance points, getting steals, jumping the passing lane, forcing turnovers. It's an elite level squad.
So an early 10-point lead. Gonzaga has the ball also, and Kispert threw it away. Numbers advantage. Harding pulls up and misses the three. There's Suggs, who's such a terrific creative passer. He finishes.
Are you kidding? That's why the comparison, by the way, to Mac Jones. I mean, he just threw that on a dime in a tight window. If you want to use a football analogy, you call football. I don't. I just watch it. But he threw that in a small window the length of the floor.
That was as good as it gets. The freshman, Caleb Lohner, comes up well short on the three. My goodness, what a start for Gonzaga. I mean, this is a good BYU team. Lob, Timmy, great catch and finish. BYU's going to have to call a timeout.
They are, and they need to. 16-2. And I don't throw this word around a lot. I've said it in studio last week when I was in Bristol. Very rare do we have a great team in college basketball. We have a great team this year, and they're the Gonzaga Bulldogs. They have done everything they wanted. They've got the best point guard. Look at that. Turn, spin it. Woo! You thought his pass was good last week on the missed layup. How about this one? Ayayi with the finish, but Suggs is putting on a show.
All right, #1 Gonzaga off to a just tremendous start here at home tonight against BYU. 16-2 in the first 4.5 minutes. Look, I know we've sold Gonzaga as an explosive team, but this is something different. And we do welcome those of you who just watched those college football awards get handed out. Dave Fleming, Sean Farnham here from Spokane, Washington, the top-ranked team in all of college basketball. Don't let the score scare you away from this game, because you are seeing a spectacular team at where that's one of the greatest passes. This was just a moment ago. Jalen Suggs, the super freshman for the Zag. Have you ever seen a better pass than that?
Just stop and just the flick of the wrist, small window, feeding it down the floor. It just came off the football award show. That was a quarterback finding his wide receiver in traffic. And Jalen Suggs is the best point guard we have in college basketball. And he's jumped the passing lanes. He's been able to score. everything Gonzaga wanted to do, they've been able to do so far at the start of this game against a very good BYU team.
This is a good BYU team, a team that was the last team to beat Gonzaga last February. You and I were there in Provo. And I can't remember a 4 minutes of hoops more spectacular than the 4 minutes we just saw from the Zags. Mark Few, who I think amidst all the chaos of COVID and the scheduling challenges, and his team's had some COVID issues themselves, is enjoying coaching just a spectacularly talented team.
What did he tell us today? That this team is dedicated, they're disciplined, and they have fun. And they're willing to sacrifice whatever it takes for this season to be successful, and it shows out on the court with the way that they play.
Offensive rebound for BYU. Even that won't go down. So BYU's offensive struggles have been a part of these first 5 minutes, but it's the Zags on this end of the floor. Just almost impossible to stop, it seems. Drew Timme, offensive board, puts it back in.
How about this start for Timme? He's got 8 points already. And that one was in traffic. 3 blue jerseys, 1 white, and he was able to corral that ball.
Barcelo, who's just been red hot from 3, missed that one. A lot of those shots are going to have to go down for BYU to even have a hope of hanging in this game. I mean, I have to think that Mark Pope's team, we know Mark Pope is a super mentally tough, focused. He gets his players prepared and energized. His team has to be a little stunned right now.
Look, he does as good as a job as any coach in the country, really, in the walkthrough and the preparation and talking to his team. And we were here sitting way up high watching the walkthrough earlier today. And he knew this was going to be a challenge, but the problem has been is offensively they have turned the ball over, and when you turn the ball over against Gonzaga, it leads to 2 points.
Corey Kispert, who's got an argument as the National Player of the Year, is going to set a screen for the guy who's been, to my eyes, the most spectacular freshman. There are a lot of good ones. Jalen Suggs, not that time from 3. And BYU's having a hard time even defensive rebounding. Kispert got fouled shooting the 3.
What happens when you're trailing by 16 this early in the game, Dave, is you start to feel like you've got to do something special. You don't. You have to stay committed to exactly what you practiced and who you are. You have to do it by possession. And that time, the last thing in the world you want to do is foul Corey Kispert on a 3-point shot.
Although it only seems like his free throw shooting matches his 3-point percent. He is shooting free throws at a higher clip than his 3-point shooting numbers, but his 3-point shooting numbers have been spectacular.
Well, he's been spectacular, and we talked about it today, you and I, and you know, everybody talks about can you shoot 50, 40, 90, and that's 50% from the field, 40% from 3, and 90% from the free throw line. Corey Kispert right now is shooting 63% from the field, 51% from 3, and is closing in on 90% at the free throw line. It's just really rare numbers to see from a player that has the volume of shots that he has.
It has just been a blitz in these first few minutes. Barcelo gets Andrew Nembhard to fall to the ground. Nell just in the game. Trevin Nell misses the 3. Saved in bounds too. Well, Kispert comes back and gets the ball. Gonzaga was already going to be good, and then Andrew Nembhard got granted eligibility immediately, the transfer from Florida, who all he did was start every game, 67 of them in his first 2 years in the SEC, is one of the best passers in that league.
I was covering the SEC for his first couple of years at Florida, and when he got his eligibility 2 days before the Kansas game, the depth of this backcourt went to a whole nother level, because now what you can do is you can put Nembhard and Suggs out there and put Suggs in a more attacking scoring role, which he's also capable of thriving in.
What a pass. Kispert, that's a blocking foul. So the dunk from the freshman Umar Ballo doesn't count. A foul against BYU.
On the drive, you see a little bit late getting set. Again, BYU 9-2 on the season. A very good basketball team. The last team to beat Gonzaga was this team a year ago. Obviously a lot of different pieces than what you have, but they've got to lock in defensively.
I mean, even if they finally got a defensive rebound after giving up a wide open 3 and then had the ball stolen away, and Jalen Suggs is upset at himself for not finishing after coming up with that steal. Mark Pope called him Deion Sanders on the defensive end. I mean, he's such a ball-hawking defensive player. A lazy pass, and he's going to go find it. Barcelo got bumped. That's a foul against Ballo.
Good job by Barcelo coming off that screen, looking to get in the body of the big. And Barcelo is the one player that, as much as we talked about Corey Kispert's numbers, his numbers have been fantastic all season long. He leads the WCC at 63% from beyond the arc. The Zags have done a pretty good job taking him out of rhythm and flow in the early stages of this game.
Nell's going to shoot another three. That one no good. BYU hasn't connected on a bunch of pretty good tries from three-point range. Kispert in transition. Nembhard, who hasn't shot the ball all that often, knocks down that one.
Well, that was just a beautiful give and go. And a lot of times what happens is the passer becomes the player that is wide open because the defense will follow the pass.
Block shot, but a whistle and a foul against the Zags.
Dave, watch this. As Nembhard brings the ball up the floor, he's going to throw the ball across that. Now, the pass has already come, but the defense had already committed to Corey Kispert's side, and that left him wide open as this ball rolls out. Watch this. The block, never mind, that's not the right play. But you understand what I'm saying? When the defense commits all the way over to one side, the guy that gave up the pass is going to be wide open on the opposite side.
Well, you think of give and go, you think of a half court, maybe a little bounce pass backdoor, something like that. Give and go can apply to a full court situation with this Gonzaga team.
Well, and part of the reason why they're so elite at the offensive end, Dave, is they're willing to pass up a good shot and find a great one for their teammate. They celebrate and enjoy the pass. And this is what I was talking about. Watch, as the pass comes, look at the defense. Everybody in the middle of the floor starts cheating towards the middle of the paint. There's nobody on that weak side. Nembhard wide open.
Now Suggs goes to the bench. Nembhard now will run the show. Kispert, little step in and hits that one from the paint.
What are the question marks by the NBA? Can he take you off the bounce? Can he finish? Can he score?
Can he defend? He's getting better at all of that stuff. All of that stuff. Brandon Averette, they could use some offense from him. Spencer Johnson getting minutes, a freshman. Averette's got some quickness to him. Good pass to the freshman Johnson for three.
And for BYU, you just breathe a little bit right there, seeing that shot go through.
First three-pointer made. 7 tries already for the BYU Cougars. Great skip pass. Nembhard's going to try another one. Hits his second one of this first half.
Dave, I want to put into perspective something here. BYU averages giving up just 27 points in the first half per game this year. They've given up 28, and we're not even at the halfway point.
Averette goes by Ayayi, then missed the layup. Here come the Zags. #1 ranked team in college basketball and looking every bit the part in this one. Kispert somehow didn't travel. Ayayi flips one up and Ballo finishes.
They have so many weapons. And Ballo's just getting better and better.
A 7-footer, kid who grew up in Mali and has come to Gonzaga, part of their tradition of great international talent, making its way to Spokane. And they think he's got a chance to be a really good one. Now a whistle and a foul on the floor. So that sends us to a timeout. What a start for the #1 ranked team in the country. A start that would make one of the all-time great players proud. We'll talk about Bill Russell when we come back. Better than they have in the first 9+ minutes of this game. They lead BYU 30-7, 10:42 still to go in the first half. The West Coast Conference, which has such a distinguished history going back a long time, instituted a new rule this offseason, and they named it after the great Bill Russell. The Russell Rule, requiring every institution to include underrepresented members in final candidates for all kinds of different positions in athletic departments. Bill Russell said, "It's my hope the West Coast Conference initiative will encourage other leagues and schools to make similar commitments." Bill Russell truly was one of the handful of greatest players in the history of this game. Still a great figure on the West Coast in the basketball scene. The Hall of Famer, played for USF, the Dons, more than 50 years ago in this West Coast Conference. Bill was honored.
Yeah, and Gloria Navarez, I talked to her yesterday, the commissioner of the West Coast Conference, and she said, listen, it was so important. The presidents and the council came together, and it was just days after the George Floyd incident in Minnesota. And immediately they said, hey, we got to do something here, and we have to be about the change. And the presidents, the council, they came together. Then they reached out multiple times to try to get in touch and find a way to reach out to Bill Russell and get his involvement and his okay to put his name on the rule. And Bill was in it immediately. And something this conference is very proud about is fighting for equity, inequality, and diversity, which has obviously been a huge focal point coming out of 2020 and now into the start of 2021.
Matt Harms completes a three-point play. I think we should also mention one of Bill Russell's longtime college, Olympic, NBA teammates, the great K.C. Jones. It was just a few weeks ago that we lost K.C. Jones, who was teammates with Bill Russell on those great USF national championship winning teams.
One of the all-time great players, a great relationship that lasted a lifetime.
And a pioneer for sure in his own right, K.C. Jones. A man that is going to be missed deeply by so many in the basketball community. 1955 and 56 champion, Dons of USF. 8-time NBA champion with the Celtics, Basketball Hall of Famer. We will miss K.C. Jones.
It's been a tough couple of weeks for the West Coast Conference. I mean, Paul Westphal, the former coach of Pepperdine, obviously great at USC and his time in the NBA, but he lost his battle to cancer.
That's an offensive foul. Drew Timme knocked down the BYU defender, so Nell drew the charge, and Matt Harms is hurting a little bit. He's got a brace on that left knee, and he's having a hard time getting up.
A transfer from Purdue, sought after by every program in the country as a transfer, and what happened there is his own teammate kind of rolled up on him a little bit.
Yeah, I thought maybe at first it was a collision injury, but no, that one bent awkwardly. Hopefully he's all right.
And for BYU, what you have to do is not that. But what you want to do is you want to value the basketball and take it possession by possession. And if you look at the next 10 minutes, okay, can you beat the Zags by 5 in this 5-minute period? And then do it again. And all of a sudden now, you whittle away this score a little bit and you cut into this lead and make it a 10-point game going to halftime. You'll feel very different than where you did at the start of this contest.
Well, Anton Watson, who is a starter for Gonzaga, unheralded member of this team, local kid. Healthy this year, battled shoulder problems last year, ended up costing him the last, 2 months of the season last year.
And Dave, you talk about the starting group, right? The Zags right now are shooting 63% from the field overall. Their starting 5 on the season, their starters, are shooting 59% combined. I mean, just let that sink in.
A good press break that time, and Harms finally realized, hey, I'm 1.5 feet taller than the guy who's standing next to me. Let me just chuck this one in. And he did. Suggs back in. Got a nice rest on the bench. Timme right over top Harms. In and out.
Much better offensive possession this time for BYU.
Good catch by Lee, and then with the left hand, yes.
Dave, that's what Mark Pope talked about when he spoke with us, is shifting the defense. Play on multiple sides. Don't be afraid to get a little bit later in the shot clock and see if you can find a really high-quality shot, but you've got to protect the ball and not allow Gonzaga to jump the passing lanes.
Ayayi, who you mentioned those shooting numbers for the Zags, he's hardly missed a shot in the last couple weeks. Nembhard steps back, short. Matt Harms is still having a hard time on that knee. Gideon George, young player. Barcelo from the free throw line. No. Harms got pushed. Now give Matt Harms credit. He's still out there and playing hard. He is not 100%.
Now Mark Pope was talking about Matt Harms and what he's meant to this team. He said since he's come in, he's been the vet's vet. You know, no days off when it comes to being emotionally locked in. And for a team that had such a dramatic turnover as far as how many guys they lost that played significant roles and provided so many of their point production from last year, getting a player like Harms is of great value.
Makes the first. By the way, coming up when we're finished, UCLA, Arizona State, Pac-12. A lot of good, talented players in the Pac-12. A lot of good, talented players on those two teams. So when we're finished, right around 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on ESPN, it'll stream on the app. The Bruins and the Sun Devils.
The Sun Devils haven't played since the 16th of December.
Wow.
Bobby Hurley's team has got a lot of talent. Josh Christopher, one of the best freshmen in the country. Remy Martin, a preseason first-team All-American. But it's been a long layoff for them.
Yeah, and for those folks who joined us a little late after the awards show, it was worth mentioning again, this BYU team, they haven't played in a long time. This game wasn't on the schedule. It wasn't scheduled at all until, what, 48 hours ago?
Yeah, in less than 2 days to prepare for the #1 team. And one of the things that makes Gonzaga so difficult, Dave, was the movement without the ball. In that last possession, Joel Ayayi does such a great job finding the open spot, and Mark Few's given him the freedom to deviate from the system because he trusts this team to make the right decision.
Good defense here from the Zags. Johnson almost had it ripped away by Suggs. He does step in and bricked it. Followed his own miss, though. Good effort play by the freshman Spencer Johnson, or the sophomore, rather. Brandon Averette. Barcelo, that one was contested, no good. George loses it out of bounds. Well, my partner Sean Farnham has noticed a comparison, and I'm going along with him on this one. #1 Alabama, #1 Gonzaga. What's similar between these two powerhouse teams? We'll get to that right after this.
Dave, the Gonzaga Bulldogs, they have become the Alabama of college football this year for college basketball. Najee Harris, the ground and pound attack. He just won the Doak Walker Award, best in his position. Timmy might end up being the best power forward in college basketball. He doesn't get a lot of praise, but he does a lot of the work. Devontae Smith, he is explosive. Every time the ball touches his hands, it looks like he can score, and most of the time he does. But there were questions about his size, his speed. There's been questions about Corey Kispert. Can he beat you off the bounce? Well, he's answered all questions this year. He's one of the best players in college basketball. And then Mac Jones, unbelievable with what he's been able to accomplish. The Davey O'Brien Award winner for the best quarterback. Well, we have the best point guard in college basketball out on the floor tonight in Jalen Suggs. Sensational with his distribution, his ability to fix this offense. And look at the numbers and the comparison that can be made between the two of them.
Yeah, it seems to me, Alabama, you just can't stop. How do you stop their offense? Gonzaga's offense, how do you stop the Zags? And for people who are tuning in tonight and maybe haven't seen Gonzaga play yet, and you're looking at the scoreboard going 34-16, my goodness, just another blowout. Appreciate the chances to watch a team that is playing at such a high level. And the three that you've talked about, Drew Timme, great start. Corey Kispert already has 9, has only missed 1 shot from the field. Jalen Suggs, who he doesn't need to score to have a big impact, had his pocket picked that time. Ayayi hustled, though. The ball's loose on the floor, and Nembhard comes away with it.
And for those of you that haven't paid attention, seen the Zags offense, remember in game 1 they scored 102 on Kansas. Maybe even more impressive what they did against Virginia, scoring 98 points against Virginia's defense. Nobody does that.
No, that seems impossible. They lit up Iowa. They have 4 top 20 wins already, so it's not like they've played nobody. They've played the toughest schedule, really, of anybody in the country, and they're 10-0. Harms catch and shoot. Oh! Couldn't get the roll. Last 3 years, Sean, Gonzaga has led the country in points per game. Kispert makes his defender fall down. Missed that shot, though, out of bounds off of the Zags. Now, how does Gonzaga get all these good players? Look, Jalen Suggs, the highest rated recruit ever to commit to Mark Few. They've had a lot of good ones, but Jalen Suggs sort of at a different level. Arguably, maybe not consensus, but arguably the best player in the country in high school last year, came here to play for Mark Few. To me, those numbers are part of the reason why.
They play a really fun brand and fun style of basketball. They share the ball. They're successful. They believe that they're competing for a national championship every single year. And Mark Few has definitely put this program in position to be at that level now consistently.
Yeah, this is no upstart program. That's not news. Nembhard for three. He's hit 3 of them in the first half.
And just a beautiful pass by Suggs, though.
Beautiful.
I mean, every time they're scoring it, you just think that's coming off of someone's hands. It's an assist. When you care about making other people better, it's amazing what you can accomplish.
I'm still thinking about the pass we saw in the early minutes from Suggs. I just can't remember seeing a better pass ever.
That's saying a lot, Dave. You've watched a lot of basketball.
I've seen a lot of games. I've seen a lot of passes. There was one. I haven't ever quite seen anything like Suggs. Yai will go to the free throw line. I mean, this is the one, if you missed it, this is the one I'm talking about. Jalen Suggs, the freshman from the Minneapolis area, St. Paul. Rebound, one hand, just like a flick of the wrist. Bucket.
Well, the impressive thing about it is, and they practice this, is that shot went up. And Ayayi knew that he wasn't going to have a chance to get the rebound. And so he released. He was 2 steps past his defensive player. And Suggs, having the court awareness that he does, as soon as he got the ball in the air, his head was already up, looking down the floor, having vision of where Joel Ayayi was.
It's not like Mark Few preaches don't rebound. He wants his players to rebound. But his point is, look, have some awareness. You don't need to be boxing out under the rim like Drew Timme if you're 40 feet from the ball and you know the ball's not carrying me to you. Let's go.
Yep. And it creates easy opportunities. You get to attack your opponent when their defense is not set.
Caleb Lohner, freshman, good rebounder, going to be a really good player for BYU. Gave it up to Gideon George. In and out, got his own miss and scores.
I think he's going to be really, really good moving forward for this program. I think that you're talking next year, the year after that, he becomes the face of BYU.
Watson had his shot rejected by George. George arguing that the ball went off Anton Watson. Just a flash on both ends of the talent of that guy.
Well, he has the ability to impact the game at both ends. Go back to the St. John's game. 13 points, 15 rebounds. He has, in moments, shown you what he's going to be capable of on a longer and more sustained period of time.
He had an argument about that ball going out of bounds. Kispert in and out. So maybe final 4+ minutes of this first half, maybe BYU make a little push. They need something from Alex Barcelo's been super quiet. He's got to be the offensive leader for this team.
He hasn't even made a 3-point shot, only attempted one, and credit Gonzaga's defense for trying to take that away.
Blow by Gideon George. Nembhard. Wow. Tried to thread one in. Suggs saved it to BYU. Lohner, 3. No. Yes. I beg your pardon. He got the carom, and that's going to force a timeout. So BYU making a little push.
It's down to 13. And that's what we talked about. Just taking these 5-minute period of time and trying to whittle away this lead. Stay consistent if you're a Cougar.
don't know that you got to downplay Jalen Suggs. This kid has the pedigree, the talent, and he has the performance so far in his freshman year. Offensively, just 3 points, but 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. He has been all over the court for the Zags. He's got that ability, Sean, to finish in transition. This is the pass that I just can't stop thinking about.
Just his feel. I mean, that's the one thing. His competitive nature, his football background allows him to play with a toughness. And one of the things Mark Few said is when he makes a mistake, he's a very quick learner. When he makes that mistake, he realizes it right away, and then he doesn't usually repeat it.
One of the very best high school football players in the country last year. If you ask Mike Schmitz, evaluating Jalen Suggs for the draft, he gave out a little report card. I see only one B on the report card.
Yeah, he had C for length. I took that one off, and I'm not really worried about his length. The way he jumps the passing lane, it's not going to cause any issues. He does need to improve his three-point shot if he wants to make that straight A's and get a 4.0. But he's as good as any player we have in the country in college basketball. Even though his numbers might not garner the National Player of the Year, he could very easily end up being the #1 pick in the draft because of plays like that. Coming off the bounce, seeing the weak side, reading the defense.
And look, frankly, I'm not making a joke with Mike's grade, but the size and length to just leap over the defense, he just jumped up and saw over everybody.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that.
No.
If he's not #1, he'll go #2. And I think a lot of the discussion goes to Cade Cunningham and just how talented he is, and obviously great length for Oklahoma State, the very talented freshman. If you haven't had a chance to watch him, enjoy him. He's going to be very short in Stillwater, Oklahoma. He's not going to stay very long. But Suggs is sensational.
There he goes. Suggs made the shot, but they're going to call a travel. There was some contact, no whistle for a foul.
Important 3 minutes right here for BYU.
No.
Every time I say that, too, they turn the ball over.
Yeah. Mark Few saying, keep talking, Sean.
But those are the mental lapses. And sometimes when you're playing a team like Gonzaga, they wear on you mentally. And you start to lose your focus and your edge.
Remhart's playing really well tonight. Finds Watson in the lane. Had a great look, just missed it. Quick release, Spencer Johnson too strong, and Lee pushed off. That was easy to see.
That's one of those shots that if you're going to take it, you better make it. Because you don't have any rebounding position. You've got a big man trailing up the floor, and it's hard to stop your momentum as you're in that trail position and you're trying to make a positive play. It turns into a negative, and you give up free throws at the other end.
Watson earns the second free throw. Well, you were talking about Cunningham in the Big 12. Great matchup in the Big 12, part of our Saturday showcase presented by 5 Hour Energy this Saturday. #4 Texas playing as well as anybody maybe not named Gonzaga in the country. #14 West Virginia, then Baylor and TCU follows Saturday at 3 Eastern. The #2 Baylor Bears. I think still with a flicker of hope, Sean Farnham, that maybe we'll see #1 versus #2 at some point this year.
Because the way this game got moved up on the schedule, Mark Few said, look, we're very likely going to have an open date. And if we can schedule a big-time game in the middle of our conference play, we're going to do it. And he's done it all season long when you look at his non-conference.
Here goes Suggs right down the lane. Switch to the left hand and draws the foul. My goodness.
Now think about that, though. Obviously, Baylor, so strong, so experienced, bringing back so many players from a year ago. But think about their backcourt with Maceo Teague and Jared Butler, Mitchell, Flagler now. I mean, they've got a very deep backcourt. That matchup would be sensational against Gonzaga based on the similarities that you can see. The difference for me is I think this offense clicks at a higher rate and a higher ability to put points on you in a hurry.
Hard to argue with that.
But if we have to wait for April to see it in a national championship game,
yeah, I'm willing to wait.
I'm okay with that.
Suggs made them both. So BYU was on a 10-2 run, forced a timeout. Zags have come out of that timeout and pumped the lead right back up. Suggs went for a steal. Almost got it. Averett tried to lob it up to Harms. That was good defense by Watson.
And Watson thought it was a shot and went for the box out.
I kind of did too at first.
That would have been a very poor shot, Dave.
It was ugly, but look, we're not courtside. We're happy to be here, but we're a little higher than we usually are.
You know, at times I've done opens in the kennel. I'm doing the entire game inside the kennel.
Yeah.
There's just no students.
Slightly different feel here, but still great to be in Spokane. Suggs 3, yes.
You got to contest. He had time to think about that. And usually when a player thinks about it, they're going to miss it.
And that's the weakness of his game.
That's a B.
Final 2 minutes here of the first half. Averett trying to find any kind of room. Shot clock winding down. Suggs all over him, and that's a push-off. Great defense, Jalen Suggs.
The scary part about Gonzaga is the fact that when you say Mark Few, what do you have to get better at? He goes, overall defense. I mean, that's you got to search for things. But then you watch them play, and you see their rotations, and you see even when Suggs on the previous possession got out of position going for the steal, Nembhard switched right away. And they're going to continue to get better at that end of the floor.
It's not quite as deep of a Gonzaga team down low. Drew Timme, spectacular post player. May not have quite the depth that some of the great Gonzaga teams of recent vintage have had. Suggs blow by again, hung in the air, missed the shot. Watson finishes off the glass.
You mentioned the size. I think that's the one thing, right? It doesn't have 2017 or 2019 type size where you have a Brandon Clark that can protect the rim.
Barcelo 3, no. Anton Watson's playing well in this first half.
Good job boxing out. And accepting of roles is really important. And when you watch this team, there is a clear understanding of who you are, what your strengths and weaknesses are, and how we can, as a collective group, help you play to them. I think that's the mantra of which Gonzaga has done such a tremendous job doing.
Zags already at 50 in the first half. Make it 52. Right by the shot blocker, Harms. BYU's just got to be stunned.
They haven't scored since that timeout.
Yeah, they haven't. Now they do. Lohner, the freshman, with the foul. He's going to be a good player.
He is. And you look at his stature, 6'8", 230 pounds. His father played basketball at BYU, and he plays with great energy. And even at shoot-around today, he's dunking, he's being aggressive, and you just get a vibe. Again, Mark Pope's building this program up, and had there not been a stoppage in play last year, I thought BYU was good enough to make the Sweet 16. And they lost a lot of key components, and they're still off to a great start this year. But they're asking some young guys to have to step up, and in particular in a game like this, these type of experiences are going to help this team moving forward.
Well, they got a good one. Caleb Lohner's three-point play ends the 13-0 Gonzaga run. Zags, #1 ranked team in the country, looking every bit the part of that can hold for the final shot. And they put the ball in their point guard's hands, who dribbles it off the leg of, well, I thought it was off BYU on the carom, but no.
A little careless that time. He tried to do too much. You know, you don't have to. That was an example where the freshman should have downshifted and found a better option. Off the knee and just through the legs.
Right through the legs. Yep. And Wyatt Lowell, the sophomore who's checked in, he gets it into Barcelo, who passes it off. Averett will drive and miss. Well, that's how the first half comes to an end. Man, did the Zags look good.
52 points, the efficiency off the charts, 55% from the field, 50% from beyond the arc. Everything they wanted, they did.
All right, it's halftime. Kevin Connor, Danny Manning, John Crispin ready with the Jeep halftime report. 52-29 Zags. Well, back here, it's like nothing has changed in Spokane. Gonzaga looking every bit the part of the #1 ranked team in the country with a huge lead over BYU. Dave Fleming, Sean Farnham. Yeah, we're a little farther apart than we usually are. Very safely distanced. Great to be here in Spokane. And Sean, the players that you spotlighted off the top, the stars on offense for Gonzaga, sure played like it in the first half.
Yeah, you just look at their roles and understanding how they can impact the game, and it started really right from the jump. I mean, outstanding job. Drew Timme, that ground and pound like a good running back, finding the seam, being able to finish and score. Does a great job providing an interior presence. And then you look at Corey Kispert, the explosive level of offense, 11 points for him in the first half, ultra efficient, always dangerous behind the arc. And then Jalen Suggs with this pass. Catch, head up, drop it on a dime. Beautiful job, great finish by Joel Ayayi. The only thing that changed, you said nothing's changed? Is that what you said? Nothing's changed. There's nobody here. There's no spicy shrimp flatbread at the Davenport. How do we not have the spicy shrimp flatbread at the Davenport?
Yeah, clearly when this game got scheduled, they didn't have enough time to prepare for your arrival here, obviously.
Get some shrimp.
Go down to the Spokane River and just drop a line in.
Look, I give them a lot of credit all the time, but no spicy shrimp flatbread threw me for a loop.
Yeah. My partner's been a little disappointed these last 24 hours. It is great to be here, even without the students and the fans that make this place arguably the most fun place to come for college hoops in the country. And I'll steal a line from Jay Billis. I heard him use it the other night of, even without the fans there, you still have to play Gonzaga when you come here. And BYU's found that out in the first half. That's a good sign for the Cougars. Alex Barcelo, they got to get him going.
Did not make a three-point shot in the first half. Finds him on the opening possession with the cleanest look he's had.
Watson lays it in off the bounce pass from Ayayi.
You cannot trade buckets if you're BYU.
They're going to call that as a foul against Gonzaga.
Here's the challenge for BYU in the second half. All right, you have to get 5 stops in a row. And then you can give up a couple points, but you then got to go get 5 more stops in a row. And that's really hard to do with a team that's as efficient offensively as Gonzaga is, but that's how dialed in you have to be in the second half if you want to try to erase this lead.
Watson out.
I love this out of bounds play, by the way. Watch, you're going to get a screen on the weak side. No? Actually, they changed it up. That's not the one they practiced earlier today.
They got all kinds of tricks. Lee trying to go back door. That was a really nice play by Nembhard to knock it away because that was going to be a layup.
Yeah. Mark Pope does a really great job on out of bounds underneath. You and I have talked about this for years. But his ability to put his team in position to score in those situations when the defense is looking at you. And he said most teams, they don't even break even. And that's why you see a lot of teams just throw it out to half court and set up their offense. But they do.
Last year BYU probably had a little more time in practice to devote to that stuff. This year they have so many new faces, they have to divide up their time a little differently. Harding, fade away, no good. Lohner, the rebound and the putback. The freshman's playing pretty well here.
An opportunity against high-level competition to start finding out who you are.
I think that's a big job for BYU. Timme cuts to the basket. Great pass from Kispert.
And that started with a little bit of miscommunication on the defensive end of the floor. You had 2 guys guarding the ball. That forced the defense to have to step up, and nobody was on Timme.
Now they're going to call an offensive foul.
What's this? 2 guys guarding 1. You have 3 going to the ball. It's usually not a good sign. That means people are open, and Drew Timme was wide open on the roll. Beautiful job by Kispert to deliver it.
Corey Kispert has worked so hard on his all-around game. So he decided to come back. He put his name in. He definitely could have been drafted, whether a first round, second round, but decided to come back. Suggs with the foul. Right into contact. He'll be at the line for a 3-point play.
Dave, not to interrupt the discussion on Corey Kispert, but if you're a coach and you go, how do I get my offense going? You find players that understand spacing. Give them the freedom to make moves and read what the defense is. And it's hard to find players that are as talented as Jalen Suggs is. But look at the last 2 possessions. Back cut, screen and cut, move and find an open space.
Kispert turns on the Jets and finishes with the dunk. And then BYU almost throws it away. Somebody help out Brandon Averette. Call a foul against Nembhard.
Made the comparison to Alabama. Of course, they have the national championship game coming up against Ohio State. Going to be a great matchup on Monday night. Part of the reason why is when you take on Alabama's offense, who do you stop?
Yeah, where do you concentrate your effort?
It's gotten to that point for Gonzaga this year is who do you stop? Who do you try to take away?
Yeah, we're going to double team Drew Timme down low. Can't do that. We're going to swarm Kispert. Well, he can pass. Just so many weapons for this team. Timme got down quickly into the front court, and he got down in position and drew the foul almost immediately.
Well, and look at the non-conference schedule that Gonzaga played. The question starts to become what style offense, what style of team are you going to be able to find success and beat them?
Yeah, it's a good point because they've played a lot of good teams, but look at those 4 teams all play different styles. Now, West Virginia actually, with their power inside, especially when they were at full strength. There's Kispert again, another dunk for him.
But you have Kansas. We all talked about Kansas defense isn't very good. Since that game, they're holding opponents to 34% shooting from the floor. They've been outstanding. The Zags were just that good. You play a high-octane offense in Iowa. No worries. You got player of the year potentially in Luka Garza. We're okay with that. You go against Virginia's packed line defense and scored 98 points. Dave, 98 versus Tony Bennett's team.
Well, I mean, to me, that's the most discouraging one of all for teams around the country saying, how can we stop the Zags? 98 against Virginia.
It's so impressive. And it's easy to look and say, okay, well, gosh, BYU's not playing well. Or Virginia didn't play well. Or Iowa's not playing well. At what point in time do you start realizing just how good this Gonzaga team is?
Barcelo, quick release, no good. They're going to call the push against the Zags. Caleb Lohner, I thought he was leaving the arena.
He's been the bright spot here in the second half. I mean, he is playing with a great sense of purpose. His motor is on high level right now. He's playing with purpose.
He's already getting minutes for this BYU team. He's going to be earning even more.
I don't disagree.
He got 10 points, 4 or 5 from the field. Harward made his move. Timme kind of knocked that rebound away, but Gideon George, who I think also has been a bright spot.
George has come off the bench in the first half and in the second half and is playing with a tremendous amount of moxie.
Suggs got it picked from behind. Barcelo really had nowhere to go with the ball. That was a sloppy pass. Well, I know fans have missed it. The Farnham Files are coming up when we come back to Spokane. The top freshman, a hint, number 1 is going to be on that list. 2-40, Gonzaga leading BYU, the last team to beat the Zags. That was last February. Time for the Farnham File, the top freshman in college basketball.
Yeah, I think Jalen Suggs is the best freshman in the country. And Cade Cunningham's numbers are outstanding for Oklahoma State. But everything Jalen Suggs means to the Gonzaga Bulldogs, it's a loaded group. Cameron Thomas is a bucket getter. I mean, he's averaging almost 30 points per game in his SEC play, and they played 3 games. And then Hunter Dickinson. You're going to see him actually on Tuesday against Wisconsin, if I'm not mistaken. He had 28 last night. Juwan Howard's team, and I know Danny Manning in studio talked about it earlier this year, back in late November, said, hey, he thinks they could be a Final Four team. They're playing like it right now.
Yeah, Danny Manning, tremendous teacher of big men. Juwan Howard, obviously. Mark Pope, I think, is one of the best big men coaches in all of college basketball. Hunter Dickinson. I mean, Michigan's legit. They're good.
You got to be excited for that game on Tuesday.
I am. Big Ten is just loaded. Nembhard cut off. Suggs, a little hesitation, went right by.
Change of pace, change of direction. As quick as he is, and we talk about end-to-end floor speed for a lot of players. in the game of basketball, it's about changing your pace, stopping and changing direction, getting your defense to elevate or shift their weight.
Nice pass, George, and I don't know why Harward didn't just go up with it. He hesitated and had it knocked away.
Gideon George is going to play a lot more moving forward.
Yeah.
From what I've seen tonight, he's been their most aggressive player. That was a beautiful pass.
He and Lohner have been the two best for BYU. George, he's got the size to kind of take on Suggs. Of course, then I say that, and Suggs just rips it away. Timmy whips the pass in there to Kispert, and a foul.
You have to be able to improvise defensively, and because you know that Gonzaga is going to do it at the offensive end of the floor. And just good job defensively, Suggs, using that length to poke the ball away. And at the other end of the floor, you had a back cut by Suggs, and then you had a back cut on the opposite side by Kispert. It was the back cut by Kispert, and then the hesitation not to throw the pass right away, but to deliver it in a position where Corey Kispert could be successful. That's the versatility Drew Timme brings to the court.
Yeah, it's a good point by you, because BYU actually defended the set play very well, but Gonzaga just made an adjustment. Averette lobbed it up there. That one was knocked away, but it comes back in the hands of George. Here's the three-pointer, no good from Spencer Johnson. That's a travel. Good effort.
Swaggy P's watching tonight.
Huh, okay.
He was tweeting, and he was like saying, this is what he said. This is Swaggy P. It's time for Gonzaga to get out of the conference. It's why they lose come the tournament, because they didn't play anybody all year.
Well, they don't lose in the tournament. They have about the best track record of any team in the country over the last decade in the tournament.
They played for a national championship, Swaggy P.
They haven't lost in the first round in how many years?
Nick Young, come on, you're my guy. I did the story on you back in the day when I started my broadcasting career when you were in high school. All right? But to think that this team isn't going to be able to perform come tournament time, did you just look at the schedule they played in the non-conference?
They go to the Sweet 16 now just about every year. They played for a championship and almost won it, now I guess almost 3 years ago, but still, very recently.
They would have been a favorite to potentially win the championship last year had there been an NCAA tournament.
Otherwise, good analysis. Gideon George from the baseline. I'm teasing.
But this is the misnomer, because you see scores like this and people immediately want to jump to this certain conclusion, right? But the reality in the WCC is last year they would have 3 teams in the NCAA tournament. Would have been BYU, St. Mary's, and Gonzaga, and all 3 teams a year ago were good enough to advance in the NCAA tournament. And if you look this year in the West Coast against power conferences, the Power 6, the WCC was 10-8. 10-8. 5 of those came from Gonzaga. All right, take 5 of those away, they're 5-8. Guess what the Pac-12 was? 4-8. So it's not about changing conferences. It's about giving respect to the depth of conferences just because of size of school. There are certain teams that are elite and are special, and this one in front of us is special.
Wyatt Lowell, who's just getting healthy from a shoulder surgery he had in the summertime, he went down and is in a lot of pain.
He's a player that they think can really mature into being a significant part. WAC Freshman of the Year when he's at Utah Valley, and don't like the way he grabbed the back of that ankle.
Ooh. Almost
it was
like
a non-contact injury.
Almost like an Achilles.
I hope not. He's just coming back from injury, and at shoot-around today, Coach Pope was saying, hey, this is a young man we're going to start working in more. Really can space the floor, shoot it from the outside.
I'm a big-time high school player who went to play for Mark Pope at Utah Valley, and that stinks.
That is one of those things you just see, and you hope that it looks worse than it actually is.
And sometimes that is the case. Sometimes it's not as bad as it looks. A player can be spooked when you feel something and think it might be the worst case scenario. So fingers crossed for Wyatt Lowell. Harm's back in the game, so is Barcelo. Yeah, he's just harassing him, Barcelo. found George. That was a pretty nice move, but his shot was partially deflected.
By the way, Nick, we do appreciate you watching the show.
We do. And I'm just teasing. Nick knows a lot more about basketball than I do. He definitely was a better player than I was. Yai got his own miss. Suggs from that elbow area. Barcelo finally comes away with the ball.
And we mentioned this in the first half. This game was not on the schedule. It was set up 48 hours ago. And a credit to both athletic directors and both coaches, Mark Pope, Mark Few, and the willingness to make this game happen. And
BYU, Sean, was desperate to play. I mean, they had their first three, not their first one or two, their first three WCC games wiped out with COVID protocol. Great defense, and Lohner went up to dunk it home. He gets fouled.
Well, Dave, think about this. They were 30 minutes in flight to Pepperdine when they got word that the game was canceled. They turned the plane around and came back to campus. Then they're getting done with practice. They're getting ready to go to the bus to go to the airport and get on a plane to play USD, and they find out that was canceled. It's been very much so disjointed for BYU in this start and stop for their season.
Yeah, and all three times it wasn't COVID issues within BYU's program. It was with their opponents. So BYU was good to go. Gonzaga was good to go. Phone calls were made literally 48 hours ago. Is there a time slot? Can we get there? Can we come play? The answer was yes across the board. So BYU's here, but clearly not quite ready for this challenge. A rebuilding, growing BYU team.
Well, here's the other thing. Who has been ready for this challenge?
That'd be nobody.
Okay. So at what point in time do you start thinking, you know what? Every so often, and there's long, oh, what a pass.
Yeah, Kispert's got to finish to help his friend out, and he's pounding his chest as he heads back in that direction. My bad. Cost him an assist.
But my point, Dave, is at what point in time do you really start thinking about, okay, 1976 Indiana, undefeated national champions. And when you look at Gonzaga's mentality this season so far has been, we're going to play anyone, anywhere we possibly can. And if we have a hole in our schedule, and we talked about this in the first half, because of this game being moved up, there might be a hole in the schedule. And Mark Few wants to go play another power conference team in that spot. And if they're able to do that, I don't think anyone in the country can beat them right now with the way that they're playing right now. They're too good offensively.
Suggs crossover, fell down, but somehow got the pass over to Nembhard. Lohner's working hard.
He is. There's going to be positives for Mark Pope. And I know fans are sitting there looking at a 30-point game and going, how can there possibly be a lot of positives? You know, well, the positives is this. You're putting people in positions to really test their will, their fight, and they're exposing who they are. Gabe Lohner is one of those guys. He has brought the fight here in the second half and is showing Mark Pope a lot.
Emma, Ohio State, the national championship game, Monday, January 11th on ESPN.
Just days away now. The national championship game presented by AT&T. What a matchup. Alabama and Ohio State Monday, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. And we've got you covered on every platform, TV, radio. One of our college basketball friends, Sean McDonough, is going to be calling the game on radio, digital. Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit, of course, will have a call on the television side of things, the main telecast. 75-45 here. Alabama, Ohio State, all-time college football powerhouses. I was actually surprised Alabama was fourth in first-round picks in the draft era. Not even higher than that, but
in particular, this Nick Saban era has kind of changed that, and I think they're going to have a couple this year, obviously. But Trey Sermon, I think, is going to be the key of the game for Ohio State. Think about this. In the last two games, he's rushed for 524 yards. Now, 331 of those came in the Big Ten championship game. But he's got to be able to control and keep that Ohio State offense, that Alabama offense, on the sideline. Great way to do that is to be able to win the line of scrimmage and allow Trey Sermon to make great plays.
I always thought you and Herb Street sort of looked alike. You kick two kind of, you could pass for one another maybe in the right circumstance.
If they want to put me on game day and have me fly on wheels up, I'm in.
You've been practicing your Herb Street little breakdown for our national championship game.
Alabama won a slew of awards tonight in that award show that took place before we came on air.
Yes, they did.
Every time we looked up, it was like another Alabama winner.
Devontae Smith, Mac Jones, Najee Harris, Alex Leatherwood, and Landon Dickerson all won big-time awards. Kispert, whose shot has not been falling quite as regularly in this second half. Good skip past Johnson. Missed that one. If you're going to beat Gonzaga, almost all those kind of shots have to go down.
Definitely.
Harris, well, I thought he might have traveled.
You got some different components out on the floor right now, and Harris has got to understand that he's got to jump stop me on balance and go up with a little power there.
Lohner, good catch, and then missed the layup. He's playing big minutes, the freshman, maybe starting to fatigue a little bit. Remember, this is the first game for BYU. You can try to simulate this in practice, but they haven't played a game since December 23rd. Alex Barcelo's been so good for so much of this year. He's going to have to, everybody has an off night. He picked a bad night to have an off night against this kind of opponent, but Barcelo's going to have to play a lot better. He's 2 for 9 from the field.
Well, and in particular from beyond the arc, BYU is just shooting 25%.
Wow, hard screen. George hit the deck. Popped up, though. I let the sound tell the story of that shot.
Came up a little short.
Barcelo even missed that one. Timmy grabbed the rim. I mean, that's got to be a violation.
That's basket interference. That should be 2 points for BYU.
Yeah, you can't do that. Nembhard found Dom Harris. Shot clock winding down. Good shot fake from Gideon George against Kispert.
He's taking on one of the best players in the country and saying, you know what, I'm out here and I'm going to try to make some plays. He's got 11 points. Him and Lohner both have 22 points combined between the two of them.
That is a huge bright spot for BYU. Gideon George was born in Nigeria.
He had just 2 points in the previous 6 games, Dave.
That's almost hard to believe when you watch him play the way he has tonight. He's been good. Timeout on the floor. Gonzaga's offense has slowed down with some of the regulars on the bench, still up 25. $75-50, that's the Zags lead over BYU. 7:25 to go. The head coach, Mark Pope, not just one of the better young coaches in college basketball. He can do it all, can't he, Sean?
Yeah, he officiated over the wedding of Colby Lee and Kayla Bells, who played at Michigan, now transferred, and is going to play women's basketball at BYU. And great ceremony that took place August 9th, 2020. And one of the things that Coach Pope was talking about is just, the bond that you have with your player. And I think this is one of the things that makes him a great coach, is his genuine care and the relationships that he fosters with his players. It will last a lifetime, and that's a moment that Colby's never going to forget, and neither will Mark Pope. It's hanging in his office, by the way, that picture.
What a two-man game between Nembhard and Drew Timme. It ends up with a BYU foul.
So important when you're building a program, and you go back to last year for Mark Pope, and 24-8 in his first season, most wins ever by a first-year coach. Now, a lot of that also has to do with the great job that Dave Rose was able to do. And obviously with everything that's gone on in the last week with Dave Rose, we heard some positive news that things are getting better. We hope that is the case. And Coach Rose, if you're watching, we love you. Dave and I spent a lot of time with you in this conference as we've covered the WCC for a long time.
Yeah, Dave got sick of us after a while there. never let it show. He was always a total gentleman. Dave Rose, one of the great people in college basketball. So we're thinking about Dave and hoping he continues to get better. Lee had it blocked from behind. I think he was sort of in between. Do I dunk it? Do I lay it in? He will shoot free throws. The newly married man.
He looks sharp, by the way. In the suit tuxedo, he looked good.
He did. It was a beautiful scene. I mean, when we're on campus, we're always down below looking up into the foothills in Provo. That was sort of the reverse shot.
And there's usually snow.
Yes, that's another big difference.
So a little bit of a different vibe.
You and I aren't often there in August. Football season, maybe we end up in Provo a couple times.
Because of what I said about Trey Sermon, they're going to put me on football next year?
I think that was an audition. Give me a little Zach Wilson breakdown and you're in. Suggs, great pass.
Did you see Todd McShay came out with the mock draft, though? He had Zach Wilson as the second quarterback taken, and he had him going to the Atlanta Falcons. He had Justin Fields going all the way down at 15 to the Patriots. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence goes number 1 to the Jags.
I saw Zach Wilson. I had BYU maybe 3 times this year, and he was just unbelievably good.
His mobility and able to extend plays, I think, is one of his best attributes as a quarterback.
Coming up next, Farnham breaks down Justin Fields and his draft possibilities. By the way, when we're finished here, I say next, who knows what platform that'll be on, but on this platform, ESPN Television, UCLA, Arizona State. Pac-12 Hoops, 10:30 Eastern tonight. We'll stream on the app. Watson misses 2 free throws.
UCLA having to learn how to play without Chris Smith. Guy that tested the NBA draft waters, came back this year, tore his ACL. And Mick Cronin's team undefeated in Pac-12 play.
Oregon goes down today. Pac-12, Oregon's played really well. They lose on the road to Colorado this afternoon. UCLA maybe playing even a little better than expected. I think people expected the Bruins to be good. Arizona's played well.
It's a wide open conference race this year, though. And McKinley Wright was the reason why Oregon lost today, and he's a special guard. He has a little bit of that Peyton Pritchard type feel that you had for Oregon last year. McKinley Wright has that experience.
Oh, what a block by Watson. Kispert pushes it ahead to Kispert's frustrated. I mean, look, Corey Kispert's got 21 points. He's 8 of 15. He thinks he should have more. Okay, there's more.
You asked for it. He might hear you, by the way. I mean, we're not that far off the floor.
I'm feeling very fortunate that they have a lot of ambient sound that they pump in, sort of crowd noise, background noise during the games. Johnson got right to the rim and then went to the left hand and almost airballed a layup. I was not nervous about it because I'm happy for the players, coaches to hear what we're saying, but I didn't want it to be a distraction for them during the game.
Dave,
no distraction.
Dave, let's be honest. Nobody listens to you that much.
That is a fact. Jalen Suggs. How about shoot this one? See, he listened to me. He heard me.
Are you coaching from up here?
Yep.
I'll have you coach my son's AAU team, the Wolfpack. We went, by the way, 15-2 in our last 17 games.
Oh. Got hot at the end of the year?
Yeah. Haven't played in 8 months. No, just kidding.
Final 4:30 here from Spokane. Gonzaga. The first half was, the second half they've played well. First half was spectacular. Matt Harms.
It's good to see him moving around a little bit better. That knee was bothering him in the first half. He's moving end to end better.
I thought it was a great fit when he decided to come to BYU and play for Mark Pope. The work you and I have seen Mark do with big men over the years.
You almost wish he had more time to be there.
Yeah.
We were there when he was an assistant for Dave Rose, and we watched him with Noah Hartsock and Brandon Davies. Wow. And he was sensational with the bigs on a consistent basis. But how about the ball movement and the unselfishness we just saw right there?
You know, Timmy and Suggs as a combination, it is such a great 1-2 punch, because Drew Timme might be the best passing big man in college basketball. We know what a great passer Suggs is. Here's Lee. Dunked that one home. Those two have a special connection for guys who haven't played much basketball together. Suggs and Timme, two-man game. You can't stop that.
No, Dave, exactly what you're talking about. You got a big lead. It's 83-57. Go ahead and try to get more points. Nah, I'm going to be unselfish, set my teammate up. That's why the Zags are #1 in the country. They celebrate and enjoy that as much as scoring.
I would say it's going to be a busy day, couple days for us at ESPN. You got Clippers Warriors again tomorrow night, Friday, 10 Eastern on ESPN. Then the NFL wildcard game. Really, really good matchup. I think that's going to be a great game. Sunday, 1 Eastern, both on ABC and ESPN. Ravens and the Titans. And then on Monday, the game that Sean Farnham's been breaking down all evening, the College Football National Championship game. Alabama and Ohio State. Can the Buckeyes hang? Can they score with Alabama? We asked the same question tonight. Can BYU, can anybody score with this Gonzaga team? Ohio State hoping the answer is different for them on Monday night.
How about Mac Jones in the semifinal, 25 of 30, almost 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, and just the efficiency in which they operated Alabama. And that's what reminds me so much about this Gonzaga team, is their value and their understanding of the right read at the right time.
Mac Jones, he's fluent in Mandarin. He speaks Mandarin.
I did not know that.
He's an amazing young man. You know, you and I, Mark Few made an interesting, we had a wide-ranging conversation with the Zags longtime head coach today. And one thing, he didn't back it up with a lot of scientific evidence, but I'll tell you when we come back about our conversation with Mark.
That's a good tease.
It was a good tease. It was an interesting conversation. And our producer's telling us we have to tease something else, too. So we'll talk about the conversation and the college football championship game more after this. I could pretend to lead us through this, but we have a new college football expert.
Yeah, you talk about Justin Fields, his versatility, the toughness that he showed in that semifinal game after taking that hit against Clemson. But sometimes he gets stuck in his progressions on that first read. He's going to have to get through the second, third option against that Bama defense. Mac Jones, though, the ultimate leader that we've seen in college football this year, he's been sensational.
All right, so it's time for us, I guess, to make our college football national championship game picks. Is that right?
Yes.
So I go first?
Yes.
All right, I'm taking #1, Alabama.
Oh, way to go out on a limb there.
Yeah, how about you?
I'm going to go with Alabama as well. Roll Tide.
Look, Ohio State played great against Clemson. They proved to me and to everybody, I think they got a chance to challenge the Crimson Tide.
They got to win the line of scrimmage,
I hope it's a great, more analysis. You just... What am I doing talking about college football? I just spent the whole fall watching the sport.
Did you see either one of those teams in person this year?
Well, I saw almost nobody in person.
Well, Ian, I didn't call the game. You know that.
I did not. Barcelo, Harward laid it in. All right, I wanted to finish up the point we were making about Mark Few.
Yes.
Yeah, he made an interesting comment. Jalen Suggs went to a Spanish language immersion school growing up, so he's bilingual. And Mark said there's something about the bilingual. He's coached a lot of multilingual players in his career, and he feels like there's something about the way that your brain gets wired when you learn other languages that makes picking up basketball language, the linguistics of this sport, easier. And he thinks Jalen Suggs is almost like a genius in that regard. And he was thinking about it and saying, you know what, I don't know if that's true or not, but he really feels strongly that the bilingual players that he's coached have a terrific hoops IQ and ability to sort of absorb all the info that he throws at them.
Explains a lot about my career.
You should have studied a little harder in your Spanish class.
That was not good.
I don't think I knew that about Jalen Suggs.
I didn't either.
He went to an immersion school. By the way, Ben Gregg has come in for the Zags. Ben Gregg, kind of an interesting story, number 33. He was in high school a few weeks ago.
He was expected to enroll next year, 6'7", 195. He was ranked 55th on the ESPN 100, but no basketball being played in Oregon. He said, well, why don't I go up and start learning the system, acclimating myself, and trying to see if I can help this team. And Mark Few thinks he's going to be able to be a contributor by season's end.
One way you get in the box score, if you haven't played, commit an offensive foul. Illegal screen, you're in the box score, he's got a foul. It's just sort of hard to even fathom. I mean, he was at home in Oregon a few weeks ago, finishing up high school, and now he's playing for the #1 team in the country.
It's a pretty big step.
It is. Zakharov got pushed from behind after Martinez Arlauskas missed his shot. So free throws coming for the Zags, who are not going to get to 100. Now, if they'd kept their foot on the gas pedal and kept the starters in most of this game, I think they likely would have.
I think, you're right. And as I'm thinking here, sitting here, and it's dangerous when I start thinking, you know that, Dave. But I look at BYU and I go, you're learning something about yourself right now, and now you just need the consistency to find your game rhythm again. Haven't played since December 23rd. And you saw players that haven't really been asked to contribute a lot during the course of the season step up and all of a sudden start making a difference. Like that guy right there.
Yeah, a big-time play from Barcelo to Lohner, who's been a huge bright spot, number 33, the freshman Caleb Lohner.
And he came into this game averaging just 5 points per contest. He's got 13.
There's the freshman, launched up a 3. Ben Gregg missed it.
He's had other games where he scored. He had twice had got to 11. So it's not like it's out of the realm of possibility, but you're starting to see better consistency and more confidence. Whew. That was a great little move.
Well, what was the score in the first few? Was it 30-7 at one point?
Yes. And that's the problem. You start playing catch-up, and you allow this offense to get out and get open. It is really hard to find your way back in. The Gonzaga Bulldogs are a very special team, and they're going to be special for the remainder of this season. And they've got as good of a chance to win a national championship as anybody in the country. And that's not going on a limb when they're #1. But the way they've played, the way they've proven they can play against different styles of play, we are looking at a team that has a legitimate chance to go undefeated and win a national championship.
Yeah, not just undefeated in the West Coast Conference, which they have a great chance to do that. And that's not a knock. The WCC is probably as deep with talent as it has been in a long time.
And teams like San Francisco knocked off Virginia. Pepperdine, Colby Ross, he's one of the better guards in the country.
Pepperdine's got good players.
Kessler Edwards, Lorenzo Romo are doing a good job getting that program moving in the right direction.
You and I will see Gonzaga and Pepperdine next week. Final 15 seconds. Dom Harris, is he going to shoot? He will. Lohner won't even take the free points. Just dribble out the last couple seconds, and another dominant performance from the #1 team in the country.
As good as advertised, you see him in person, you start to appreciate the speed and their unselfishness. Stands out.
Well, we got more college hoops to come for Sean Farnham. Dave Fleming saying so long before UCLA ASU. First, let's send it to studio. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Good job.
We're clear.